It's strange. When you walk through that door, I half expected to see Belinda. Belinda and I practically shared a life. Losing her feels like losing a limb. She's conspicuous by her absence. I appreciate the sympathy, Inspector. Thank you. I'll appreciate your help even more. We shut down Ludovico's distillation plant, but he's not gonna sit idly by. If he can't use Spectrum Brown to infect the colony, he'll resort to some kind of backup plan. I stole this formula from Dr. Blossom, a failed prototype of Spectrum Brown. Look at this. The prototype had the opposite effect, and actually made you immune to the parasites. Precisely. I see we're in your wheelhouse, Inspector. Or do you prefer Doctor? We're going to need 2 ingredients. A sample of essence of sprat, and 1 intact pod of parasite eggs. Cedric's warehouse in the Perea spaceport almost certainly carries a batch of sprat essence. As for the pod, I'd check the Wilderness Reserve if I were you. I'm glad one of us is an expert. Most of what I know is based on Dr. Blossom's notes. Here's what I understand. Sprats have an adaptive immune system. They don't suffer from the diseases and parasites they carry. It's one reason why you'll see them in every corner of the colony. Dr. Blossom experimented with sprats and accidentally discovered a way to become immune to the parasites. That's probably when she decided to switch to human testing. You're a scientist and an inspector? You really are full of surprises. I borrowed a centrifuge from the research lab. Used the ingredients to synthesize an antiparasitic. I'm glad I could count on your expertise. Once you're finished, head to the pilot house. We'll hijack the control system and disperse the cure into the atmosphere. That should kill off most of the parasites. Are you worried I'm gonna shoot you in the back? You're right. You do deserve the spotlight. Here. You take good care of my Needler, and it'll take good care of you. There is one other thing. While you're at Perea's spaceport, have a word with Cedric Kincannon. I know Cedric. There's nothing he wants more than a chance to eliminate Ludovico. We could use him on our side. Best of luck, Inspector. I'm counting on you. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic, and that worries me a little. Leora Blossom and Maria Keene were on Ludovico's side. They chose to stand between me and my sister's killer. I had to cross them off. Would you believe me if I said I gave the constable a chance? I spoke to her in her office. I told her everything. Belinda, Ludovico, the parasites, all of it. Maria said I was guilty of corporate sabotage, and that she had a duty to report me. She told me how sorry she was, and I told her the same thing. And then I shot her. Maria was defending my sister's killer. If someone murdered one of your crew in cold blood, what would you do? So you do understand. Was there anything else? I'm not accustomed to talking about Belinda, but I'm also not accustomed to the kind of sympathy you showed me earlier. So I'll make an exception for you. Belinda and I shared the role of Helen, but she was also the only person who knew the real me. To the rest of the colony, I'm Halcyon Helen, but to my sister, I was just Ruth. I could be myself around Belinda, and she could be herself around me. She was my only sister, but she was also my only friend. No, Belinda enjoyed the secrecy. She could slip into the role of Halcyon Helen, attend social events on my behalf, perform a few stunts, deliver a few lines. And then, when she grew tired of all the people and all the attention, all she had to do was slip out of the role and be my sister again. She was the secret twin. She had a comfortable life in the shadows, an easier life. I made sure of that. What I want is my sister back, but I'll settle for killing Ludovico. Parents, naturally. An agent, a couple of directors. None of them had any reason to reveal the truth. To them, Helen was a brand. Revealing our secret meant damaging that brand. Damaging that brand meant losing money. Nobody in this colony wants to lose money. Belinda and I saw Helen as an act of theatric sleight of hand. We enjoyed the deception, the challenge. We wanted to see how far we could go. And if I hadn't underestimated Ludovico, you and I probably wouldn't be talking about Belinda in the past tense. We wouldn't be talking about her at all. It should have been me in that ballroom. Belinda died because I was careless. Never mind that. If you've got something else to ask me, now's the time. I'm glad I could satisfy your curiosity. Yes, this is mine. I'd kept notes on everything I suspected, everything I'd discovered. It's all here, all in code. Belinda and we had a secret way of communicating. Words and phrases that had a special meaning to us. Numbers and dates that were only important to the two of us. Only 2 people in the universe knew that language. That's kind of you. Thank you. You don't know how many times I relived this moment in my mind. I discovered what Ludovico was up to when I toured the orchards. I threatened to expose his plan. Ludovico decided to eliminate me. He programmed Burbage 3001 to fire on his command and disabled the security cameras in the ballroom. Only, he didn't know about Belinda. I'm sure he thought it was my skull he caved in with a bottle of Spectrum Brown. Burbage covered his blow with the plasma shot, and then Ludovico wiped his memory. I don't think he expected you to be so competent. In the end, hiring you may have been his undoing. I went after Leora Blossom, and you were just 1 step behind me. I programmed an automech to steal some explosives from Cedric, but you weren't far behind. You were always hot on my heels, 1 step behind and catching up. I realized I'd have to throw in with you or eliminate you. I like your confidence. Take that with you when you hunt down Ludovico. It's a long story, Inspector. It was supposed to be just another marketing job. Rizzo's wanted Halcyon Helen to be the face of Spectrum Brown. Some hideous concoction served with a dead parasite. All we had to do was spend a few weeks on Eridanos, shake some hands, sign a few autographs, drink a bottle of Spectrum Brown in front of a camera, and try to smile. Belinda didn't want to go, but I wanted a change of scenery. In any case, we couldn't possibly say no. Belinda always hated endorsement deals. They felt cheap to her, inauthentic. She always believed her first priority was to our fans, and not the company that bought us out. Belinda and I arrived on Eridanos and played our usual game of trading places. We were practically flawless. Even Ludovico didn't know about us. Belinda was unhappy for the first few days, but then she met Bertie Holcomb. Bertie treated her like a human being and not just an Aetherwave icon. They were just about perfect. Bertie didn't know the truth about Belinda and I. He thought he was dating Ruth Bellamy, and Belinda... she didn't want to lie to him. Of course not. She was my sister. I'd never stand in the way of her happiness. Belinda ended her relationship with Bertie all by herself. She didn't want to lie to him, and she couldn't tell him the truth. So she let him go. Bertie has a dreadful temper. I was worried about Belinda for a while, but she told me he'd never lay a finger on her, and I took her at her word. Bertie wasn't the person I should have kept an eye on. It was Ludovico. I had a feeling Ludovico was hiding something. Belinda stayed busy socializing with the celebrities around the complex. That gave me some time to do a little digging. I saw everything. The test subjects, the parasites. Spectrum Brown was never safe to drink. Those harmless, dead parasites at the bottom of every bottle. They were just dormant. They would have sold out in a month. This colony loves novelty. They'll eat up any new product we toss their way. A new cereal, a new Spectrum flavor. Ludovico knows that. From Emerald Vale to Byzantium, a parasite in every brain and a grin on every face. Every last one of us trapped behind a mask of joy. That's what Ludovico wants. I was careless. I was risking Belinda's life every step of the way, and I never even realized. I wish it were that easy. Still, thank you. Was there something else you wanted to talk about?